Hi! Within this section, we're going to talk about rooting and jailbreaking. So, what are these terms, and should we do it, or what can we do with rooting and jailbreaking? So, I'm gonna start with an example. You see my iPad on the right hand side. Okay, this is my live iPad. And as you can see, I have something called Cydia in my iPad. So if you're using any iOS devices, or if you have used before, then you know that you cannot download any app without having to go into the App Store. So if you want to install something on your Apple device like an iPad or an iPhone, then you should go to App Store. Of course, there are other ways to install stuff on your iPhones or iPads or any app devices. I'm gonna teach how to do those as well in this section, but let me just show you something. I'm inside my Cydia app. I'm going to search for Instagram, for example. And as you can see, there are a couple of apps, there are a couple of search results appearing over here, and none of them are actually Instagram app, but kind of clone ones like Instabetter over here. And if you look at the description, you can see that this is actually like an Instagram, but it provides some additional benefits like downloading the images, or trying to see who you're following, if they're following you back or something. So Cydia is kind of an underground app store for iPads and iPhones. Of course, this is a jailbroken device. So what does jailbreaking mean, or what does rooting mean? It means gathering administrator authorizations in your devices. So by doing that, you get to do admin stuff that producers do not want you to do actually. For example, you can reach the application data, you can manipulate the apps, you can see what's going on inside of your iPad or iPhone or your Android device as well. Is it legal, by the way? Yep, it's legal. Apple actually sued some of the people past couple of years before, and the court in the USA actually ruled that if the device is in the hands of the owner, then you don't get to choose whether they root it or not, whether they jailbreak it or not. You can actually have some kind of protection against it, but you cannot manipulate, or you cannot prevent users from jailbreaking or rooting their devices. So that's the final decision on that. So it's actually legal, but it takes your device out of the warranty. Okay, so your device will not be in the scope of warranty. So if you break it or if you do something to it, you cannot go back to the Apple Store or any other Android store. That you cannot claim your rights if you jailbreak it or root it. For example, in my case, this is an old iPad. So let me show you the version. I'm gonna come over here to my settings. I'm looking for general settings, in which I can find the about section over here, and maybe you can see something like, yeah, version is 9.3.5. It's a very old version. I believe it has been with me for 5 years right now, so it's not my daily device. I don't care if there is a warranty for that or not, so I'm using it in a jailbroken mode. So in order to follow this training, you won't need any rooted Android device. But in the iOS reverse engineering section, we will need some kind of jailbroken iPad or iPhone. So if you don't have one of those, if you don't have any device that you can spare for jailbreaking for iOS, then don't worry. Maybe in a couple of lectures you won't be able to practice you won't be able to test what we're doing, but you will be fine. You will do the rest of the training in a very practical way, because we won't need it in Android sections, Android reverse engineering sections. In iOS, we're going to manipulate some apps. We're going to SSH connect into our iPads or iPhones, jailbroken iPads or iPhones, so that we get to do admin stuff with them. So again, if you don't have any old devices, I suggest you not to pursue this, okay? But if you have some kind of old iPads or iPhones lying around in your home, and if you really want to get into the mobile application security, then it's good for you to have one jailbroken iPhone or iPad and one rooted Android device as well. Again, it's not mandatory, it's optional, but it's good to have one of those if you're going to be some kind of an analyst or an expert on this topic. So within this section, we're going to see how this works, how we can actually root it or jailbreak it so that we can gather admin access. Even if you're not gonna do it at all, then I really suggest you keep watching it and take notes. So see you in the next lecture.